I mean, up here I knew I wasn't the only one experiencing these kinds of things, and like there are people that have it much worse, but in here it was harder for me to kind of know that, and so that's kind of why my mom sent me here, so that I have people to talk to who has gone through the same things and that I can connect to, and so that I can know that I'm not alone in this.
Youth beginning experience is for young people and children that have suffered the loss of the divorce of their parents, separation of their parents, or the death of a parent.
People come initially very shy or reticent, and by the end of the weekend, things are very different. They're more open, and you can see that things have changed for them.
What I have noticed is there's an electricity that goes through the group. We have youth who come that don't want to be there. We have some who come and they're completely closed up. And often by the first evening, before we've even sent everybody to bed, there's laughter and friendships beginning. And by the end of the weekend, they don't want to leave.
A lot of times these young people they feel that for some reason they were a part of what happened, that it's their fault, and they really have a hard time with trying to put their grief where it needs to be. And so until they can work through that grief process, they really struggle. And they keep all that inside because they don't feel like their peers understand, so they can't talk to their peers. So when they come on a youth weekend and they see that we have youth facilitators that have walked in those shoes and understand where they're coming from and can tell their stories of what they did and how they made it through that time, then it's so powerful for these young people that see that, oh, it is somebody else out there. And now I understand that I'm not alone.
Normally it's difficult for me to connect with people my age, but I learned that we're much more similar than I realized. We've all gone through a lot of loss, but that you can still move on from it, that there are multiple opportunities that just need to be taken.
We have youth who come and finally they find a safe place without judgment, and they can say what is in their heart without feeling stupid or that it sounds weird, because everyone else there in that group is somewhere on the same journey.
It wasn't until I met a bunch of other people my age, and even people older, that could just say, hey, I've been through these issues and this is how it's impacted my life, and it's helped me evaluate how I truly feel about my own life that I didn't know before.
Everybody can kind of relate in some way. Like, we're all dealing with some type of pain, and in one way or another, like when we're talking, we can relate. Like, someone says something, you're like, oh yes, I totally understand what you're feeling, and we're not alone. Ever.
I think there's a similarity between adults and children, and that is there's no predictability to the grief. But I think one of the things that children do that adults don't do is that they are able to distract themselves from their grief. They can just tolerate that pain for so long, and then they kind of easily will move into another emotion. And we as adults think, oh, they're better, when in fact they're not. Something will come along, something very minor, that will upset them and throw them back into their grief process.
I think kids tend to look for escapes from their own grief. So they go to video games or something else because it takes their mind from it. Our weekend is a place sometimes where they're being asked to look at that.
2015 was my first youth weekend. I was hurting real bad. By the second day, was crying. Like, I was so overwhelmed, but I had so much support behind me, so many people that loved me, and I knew that I could get through it with them, with God.
My experience with God was before my loss was just, half-hearted kind of. I believed, but I didn't really commit myself to the faith. But then when my dad passed away when I was 13, I didn't know how to process that. It was hard to come back from that kind of pain. But being able to come to the youth beginning experience has helped me tremendously.
Coming on the weekend, I think it would be a great choice. I know coming at first you're just like, I don't know about this, meeting new people. But it's so worth it in the end. It's so worth it. I can just tell you it's so worth it.
Let beginning experience be your new beginning.